Can you please share your personal experience with lupus, Hashimoto disease, and how did you overcome them to achieve remission? How long did it take you from the initial change, like to like a completely, hey, you say you didn't feel better, but then you feel better?
3.5 months. I was willing to do anything.
And how did you go from curing yourself to become an author and become a holistic health coach?
I had a lot of compassion for other people. I assumed that other women must be, and men, going through this, being gaslit at doctors' offices, being told nothing's wrong, being told there's nothing they can do within their power, when really you're visiting a specialist who does not specialize in root causes, in what is really happening, they don't specialize in diet.
You keep fighting it through and then met this doctor. And what was his approach? So with great enthusiasm, I introduced Christy Powers, a certified holistic health coach and accomplished author. Her personal triumph over lupus and Hashimoto diseases has fueled her passion to empower others on their healing journeys. Through her holistic approach, she addresses the root cause of the different for inflammation and autoimmune disease, and she guide her clients towards natural and sustainable health transformations. Her book, Roadmap to Autoimmune Remission, serves as a testament to her expertise and dedication. On a personal note, under Christy's guidance, I have embraced practices such as sun gazing, journaling, breath work, and cold shower, and of course, mindful eating based on her insightful food recommendations. The habits have profoundly enriched my well-being. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Can you please share your personal experience with lupus, Hashimoto disease, and how did you overcome them to achieve remission?
Of course. Woo, it's a long journey, but it basically started out in my early 20s where I just had a thyroid issue. I had low thyroid and I was immediately put on medicine. But at the time I couldn't get out of bed. I was so lethargic. I was so tired. So I was relieved to find, okay, I know what the problem is and going to take medicine, and I started feeling better. The problem was, a few years later, that didn't seem to work anymore. And I just wasn't feeling like myself. I had gained more weight than I wanted to. I was feeling fatigued again. And every time I would go to get my blood panel done to check my thyroid levels, I was told I was within range. Nothing's wrong, but I did not feel right. I also had really bad brain fog where I wouldn't be able to read a book anymore. And I love reading, but not even being able to read the page and having to reread the page like 3 times in order to retain what I was reading. And then just a whole other slew of symptoms started cropping up, and again, just kept in a frustrated way, going back to different doctors, going to specialists, endocrinologists, general practitioners, just trying everything and not getting any answers. And it was disappointed the way some practitioners, you feel treated. You feel dismissed when you're asking questions, or your questions aren't even answered, or you're made to feel stupid. And I'm not saying all practitioners are like that, but unfortunately, I do hear from a lot of my own clients that that's the way they feel and they're treated. And later, I just started really being open-minded and trying a bunch of different avenues and feeling like I have to self-advocate in order to get some solutions, because I'm starting to feel really depressed.
Mm-hmm.
So then doctors started giving me antidepressants, but something told me inside, I'm not depressed.
Right.
And also just thinking logically, I wasn't a depressed girl growing up.
Yeah.
I'm not depressed. I'm feeling depressed because I feel like shit, quite frankly.
Right.
And I'm operating every day. It just feels like, why does it feel like such a struggle to get through an average day? And it just feels like more and more symptoms are cropping up and there is literally no solution in sight. And when I asked doctors, is there anything I can eat? is there anything I can change in my lifestyle? And I was not given any guidance in terms of what can you do naturally. I was told to continue doing the same thing, which is madness. Why would you continue to do the same thing over and over if you feel like shit?
Yeah.
So I just started really entertaining different avenues, whether it was acupuncture, different types of doctors that were out of network, out of pocket, Eastern medicine, Western, just everything, because I was desperate.
Yeah.
I was young. It was in my 30s. So this was a period of about 10 years.
Wow.
And I stumbled on things that did work, right? Different books that I had read, which was hard for me to read because of brain fog, but you get the point. But I was literally extracting little things that would help along the way. I got into meditation. I got into all these different practices because my belief was if I could feel 10% better, I'm going to take it.
Right.
Desperate because, again, I felt like I wasn't functioning without copious amounts of coffee, and I still had to work. I couldn't say, I have a disability, which now the diseases I had are recognized as disabilities. But at the time I had to just deal with it. Anyway, then I stumbled on a doctor that started kind of saying different things than I had heard before. And just to give you background, I had tried probably, 10 different types of diets. I went vegan for a year, went AIP. A lot of people do the autoimmune protocol.
It's AIP.
It's an autoimmune, like paleo kind of protocol, but it wasn't doing it. I still wasn't feeling well. And I even created a spreadsheet kind of documenting how long I tried something and if I got any results. And then I met this doctor, and he was on a podcast, and I ended up getting an appointment with him randomly through my ex at the time. But he was talking about how some foods really cause inflammation in the body. And I had never heard this before because I assumed anything that was a fruit or a vegetable was our friend.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Right.
So had an appointment with him, and definitely what I want to say is I started feeling worse when I embraced his protocol.
Wow.
I started having symptoms express themselves that I had never experienced before. Couldn't get out of bed. I had debilitating joint pain. I had horrible butterfly rashes. I lost I'd say 40% of my hair, which has grown back, but something told me to stick with it. It was an intuitive thing. And so most people would give up. This doesn't work, but something said, just stick with it. It's different, and I want different right now. It's the only thing that's different. So stuck with it and started feeling better. The joint pain went away. The skin rashes went away. My eyebrows, I had lost eyebrows on the side. It's called Queen Anne syndrome. But anyway, that grew back. Hair grew back. All the digestive issues, brain fog. I mean, I had over 30 symptoms, so I could, spend a lot of time. People who have autoimmune disease know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. How long did it take you from the initial change, to a completely, hey, you say you didn't feel better, but then you feel better?
Good question. 3.5 months.
Wow. Yeah. I feel like some people wouldn't have
sticking to it, not cheating. I cared so much. I was willing to do anything because I had a moment in my life where I was playing with my nephew, and he was really young, and I was so tired and didn't want to play with him. And I remember my sister saying, don't play with Gigi. That's what they call me, Gigi. Don't play with Gigi. She doesn't feel good right now. I'm like, no, this isn't going to be my life.
Yeah.
I want to be able to play with my nephews, my family, be engaged. And anybody who has an autoimmune disease, chronic illness, chronic fatigue, anything like that, or brain fog, you feel like you're missing out on your life. Right. That is why you're getting depressed.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. And I feel like some people would normalize it. Well, this is just going to be my life. But you keep fighting it through, and then met this doctor. And what was his approach?
His approach was going lectin free, and it's Dr. Gundry. And this is before he had a book out and all of that. And before a lot of products were out that made the journey a lot easier, like grain-free products that are available, and et cetera, et cetera. At the time, it was feeling like the Wild West in a grocery store. What the heck do I buy? And I looked at this random list he gave me, like just PDFs stapled together, and it like I just saw goat cheese. And I'm like, okay, I can have goat cheese. Let's get out of the goat cheese. Because I had a which I think we all have, and grant yourself this. We have these like pity party moments, and it's okay. And I was like tearing up in the grocery store, really.
Right.
And you've got to get it together. You got to pull up the big girl pants, the big boy pants, and say, like, I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah.
In my life. So I ended up figuring it out. And what I started feeling better, symptoms started going away. I started feeling like myself. But this is, I want to say, alongside changing my job, which was super stressful at the time, and also embracing other practices, not just my diet, deeply into meditation, into breath work, other things that I cover holistically in my practice, because you can eat amazing, but if you are super stressed out, you will have horrible digestion. You will not be able to sleep well at night, like numerous things. You can have brain fog. Like, we have to consider all of the different things in treating you because you're a human being. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, trying to not be that long, but I should say, which I didn't mention, is that I was also diagnosed with lupus along the way.
How is it diagnosed in the first place?
How what?
How is lupus being diagnosed?
Blood work.
Blood work. Okay.
Yes. And immediately that's when my health really started declining after that diagnosis. It really started impacting me right away. But what I want to say is, in my journey of that decade with the thyroid concern, and always thinking, oh, it must be my thyroid, and then being diagnosed with Hashimoto's and being told, well, we don't really know what that is at the time. We just see that your antibodies in your blood are elevated, so your body's fighting itself. Okay, nothing, no guidance, nothing I can do about it. But then not knowing what's wrong with me still, and then getting a diagnosis with lupus later.
Mm-hmm.
But what that was telling me is, I never had the moment of something is wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
Something instead, I thought, is causing this. There's a root cause here, or causes making me sick. I think that's the distinction. A lot of people think something's wrong with them, that they're flawed. And I don't believe that at all with all the conditions I've worked with. I believe you're designed perfectly. There's no flaw in how you were designed, and it's learning how to work with your design. And unfortunately, in modern society, we just have a lot of curveballs that we need to work through and self-advocate, which you know very well in your journey.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's really so true. Like, it's really the curveballs and how everyone is different. And did you eventually do the blood test, like to figure out if you're allergic to lectin, or like, do they have anything like that on the market? Can test for that?
Well, there are certain markers that you can see in terms of like, do you have lectins in your diet? I don't know if you can test if you have a sensitivity to it at all, but I believe everybody is sensitive to it.
Yeah,
I believe in my work and what I've seen and all the different conditions I've worked with.
Yeah, all the chemicals in the environment, the food and water, it's like to figure out what is the right diet, lifestyle for us. It really takes a lot of trial and error. You really can't just say, okay, I'll just let it happen, or not to investigate. You really have to be your own advocate and investigator.
Mm-hmm. You
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. And how do you pivot from this? I feel like a lot of the greatest healers, they also went through their own journey to heal themselves, to become more insightful, enlightened. And how did you go from curing yourself to become an author and become a holistic health coach?
I had a lot of compassion for other people. I assumed that other women must be, and men, going through this, being gaslit at doctors' offices, being told nothing's wrong, being told there's nothing they can do within their power, when really you're visiting a specialist who does not specialize in root causes. in what is really happening. They don't specialize in diet. That's not their training. Medical school, you get maybe 2 weeks, if that, of nutrition study. They are not trained on stress management practices. They're not trained in a lot of different things. They're trained in what pharmaceutical is going to help you with your symptoms. And it's a very different line of work. And I'm not criticizing it because, say, somebody needs surgery, there's some sort of crisis management that happens, you get in a car accident, you want to go to a doctor like that. They're going to be able to help you. But when it comes to preventative medicine or diet, anything like that, you need to see a different specialist. It's just not their training.
Yeah, I feel like
Go ahead.
Such a paradigm shift. I feel like this is not only important for the patients, that they need to be aware that they don't just give up when the doctor tells them, hey, you know, there's nothing we can do. I feel like the doctors needs to be very aware of because like when I confronted with my own diagnosis, breast cancer, the doctor was so confident in their own arena. They're not even understanding their outside research out there. They are like, I read bunch of researches, and then I have numerous doctors or like a researcher, they presented me with other information. But the oncology field, like that's my experience, like they're so confident to the point that they are so ignorant to their own ignorance. Like they're hurting patients. They don't even understand. Like I just think that this is such an important message for the doctors out there. Like, you know, like you are in a way in a bubble, and then you are like, there are like a research out there can help your patient, but they are so like firmly hold in this little circle. They just reinforce the same treatment that is maybe not the best interest for the patient.
It's the way they were trained, and it's their mentality and their methodology, and they're going to stand by their methodology. And what I want to clarify for listeners is that when you get an opinion from a doctor, that's not the only doctor in the world.
Yeah.
Like, get other opinions, see other doctors, see other specialists, get a bunch of opinions. And that might sound draining, but what I want people to start thinking about is you want to create your dream team. And your dream team are people who want what you want. And what's really important is when you do work with a doctor, they're listening to you.
Yeah.
You feel seen, you feel heard, you feel understood, not dismissed, not ignored, not walking out of that appointment thinking, am I stupid for asking that? Or there are no other options. Just know there are some amazing practitioners out there. They are open-minded. They are willing to collaborate with you. And then also to clarify too, the doctor that I saw, even though, I mean, he went way above and beyond and studied nutrition, which is why I even learned about that. So he was kind of a unique doctor in that way. But they do exist. But to get different opinions, if you don't like the opinion you receive, get a different one.
Yeah, especially sometimes we ignore the subtle signs. Like the doctors, they really need to be on board with you. Like there's like in my own, you know, program in natural medicine I'm in, like intention, the healer's intention and the healees, like together, like you said, the common goal to help the person feel better. And it is really important. It impacts the outcome. One's like prognosis. So I'm really glad you brought it up.
Yeah, you want to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You want to feel like you're sharing the same goal.
Yeah. So you became a health coach, like helping others. Can you tell me a little bit about your you know, in your practice powers being emphasize like addressing the root causes of inflammation? Can you elaborate the methodology you employ to help your client identify and tackle the root causes?
Yes, so it's definitely a custom approach. So it's really reverse engineering why somebody doesn't feel well. And it's an incremental approach. So a lot of protocols, or when you work with, say, a personal trainer or anything else, it's incremental, doing baby steps, not expecting the person to do and embrace everything all at once, because then we're missing out on a lot of information. I like clients to do it in steps of eliminations when it comes to diet, so that they can see what's really causing the body distress in real time. Because if we were to do everything at once, then maybe you would just think, oh, it could be anything. No, I want you to walk away with information.
Yes.
A big part of that is reverse engineering. If somebody doesn't feel well or has a bad day or a bad week or an autoimmune flare, well, why is that? What was your work week like? Was
Yeah.
it really stressful? I mean, we don't pay enough attention. We pay so much attention to the physical aspect of our health, and we're not really paying a lot of attention to the mental and spiritual aspects that are impacting us every day. So think about it this way. If you were to get in a very upsetting altercation, argument, maybe even a breakup with somebody, we've seen where your digestive system can be really upset. You could have nausea, all sorts of experiences just because you're emotionally upset. So it's just as important to investigate all of these aspects of one's life and not just the dietary aspect. And I'm really big on that. So I'd say diet is a big part of the healing journey, but it's also extracting possible chemicals in your food and your supplements, all these different things, and also looking at your lifestyle. And another big component of the work that I do too is working on people's personal boundaries, whether it's at work and their personal relationships, but an over volunteering of energy that one person doesn't necessarily have to give. So there can be unhealthy imbalances in one's life when it comes to a relational aspect too. All of this plays into our health.
Yeah, that's so true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me just see. Oh, so how do you integrate? Like, I know because I took your class, and I know there's different chapter to dive deep into different aspects, like a mind, body, food,
Yes.
environment,
Yes.
and, toxin loads and all that stuff. It's, so you have this amazing program. And can you tell us a little bit, like you have one-on-one, you have online course, and you have some free material, and how do which each format, how do you suggest our audience, like how, if they're interested, where should they start, and which one is for who?
Yes. So I care a lot about this. This is why I got into this, because I'm really big on self-empowerment. So specifically, the free resources I have is to help you feel better now, because it can be such a frustrating journey. So the first thing I have, anybody that signs up for my newsletter, you get a 12-month healing food guide. It is filtered. It's not just fruits, vegetables, nuts. In season, which I'm big on eating seasonally too. There's health benefits to that. But it's already filtered to be lectin-free, anti-inflammatory. So it's meant to be super easy. Print it out, take it to the grocery store, but also get inspired eating seasonally so that you're diversifying your vitamin and mineral profile as, I'm just going to say, God, nature designed. The more we get in alignment with that, the way that you are designed, the more you will heal naturally, effortlessly. It's working with the design. But then also, in addition to that, I have a free masterclass, which I can give you the link to. And that is specifically for chronic fatigue and what you can do today, because overwhelmingly in our society, I see people are very tired. And that was, for me, the most frustrating symptom. But it will also help with brain fog. So that's a free masterclass. Please take advantage of that. It's meant to help you. And I also have a YouTube channel where people can get free recipes I've created, but also I deep dive on topics that I don't see a lot of people talking about, how people pleasing impacts your health. And there's a correlation between chronic illness and people pleasing and being a martyr, or how meditation changed my health, or just different things and how to get into it if you've never meditated before, journaling practices. I like to deep dive on all sorts of topics because, again, my belief at the end of the day is if something makes you feel 5% better and this makes you feel 10% better and this is 10% better over here and you combine it all, that's 25% better.
Yeah,
That's
and those are
huge.
little prompts. Like, it could give you an indicator of why, like, all those things that make you feel better might be related and
Yes.
indicate something that you need or you need
Yes.
to eliminate. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm big on whether you're working with me one-on-one or you're doing my online program, because I started building out what it looks like to work with me one-on-one for people who want something more affordable, but also self-paced.
Yeah.
So I started building that out, which is great. It's a way for people. So I have a program called Self-Healing Jumpstart. And it specifically is for people who want to address chronic fatigue, brain fog, joint pain, skin rashes now, within a few weeks feeling better. But what I do want to say when it comes to whether you're working with me one-on-one or you're watching my YouTube videos, I'm big on explaining the why. So I'll always tell you the science behind everything. There's health benefits scientifically proven for journaling. There's health benefits to meditation. And even in my recipes, I'm telling you exactly what vitamins and minerals are intentionally put into this food. So it's going to make you feel better. And we have to just bring alignment and intention back into our lives. And it also is really a mindfulness practice at the end of the day.
Yeah, it is so true, because the more you pay attention to your body, when you change your diet or lifestyle, how your body responds, it's like speaking to you. And the more you are in tune in that, and then more you can tailor and become, feeling better version of yourself.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And you can. So people told me in my journey, there's nothing you can do about autoimmune disease. And I told myself, I know that I could change my diet. I could do things in my own power. I know I can feel better. I don't believe you at all.
It's such a negative message. And then we all know that there are a lot of like outlier situation, and to give people that in like the message, there's nothing you can do. It's such a terrible message.
It is, because I'm living proof, and my clients are too, that you can be symptom-free, pharma-free, test disease-free. But I do, the disclaimer is that it's not a cure. You are the cure. You are the cure. Your choices are the cure. But you're not told that because it's not how Western medicine is trained.
Yep.
Conventional. It's not the conventional approach. Instead, you have to be your own advocate. You have to be your own self-healer, which is what I teach you, is you learn the why, learn what causes distress in your body, what causes inflammation, what causes symptoms, what causes chronic illness, and prevent it. And you can do that, and you can overcome this. That's the message.
Yeah, I really, with my journey, I really noticed when I changed my routine, and the certain routine would make me feel way better. And then, so I started to fine tune small things that really worked for me and eliminate maybe the one that's not as effective. And I think that's like a kind of like evolution. Also get to know yourself from the inside and out, because, I feel like sometimes it's how we think and our body kind of like reflects like, our spirits or our mind. And then, so it's like it's fascinating journey. I think sometimes I look at the diagnosis or certain disease is like an opportunity for us to get to know ourselves in a deeper way.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
Beautifully said. Honestly, know thyself.
Yeah.
That is the healing journey. It's learning about who you are.
Yeah. And then in your book, Roadmap to Autoimmune Remission, outlines a natural strategy for overcoming autoimmune conditions. What key takeaways do you hope readers to gain from it?
Yes, that you can overcome. So in the book, I talk a little bit in the beginning about, we are related. Being here today in this world, we are related to people who have overcome wars, famines, our ancestors, genocides, holocausts, like you name it, ice age, and we're here. You can overcome this. You can.
That's amazing. Yeah, when you put it that way, it's so true. And it's not like that many generations ago. It's like, our grandparents' generation, they've been through war, famine, and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yes. And when you work with somebody that says there's nothing you can do, run. That is not your person.
Great. And what do you think is the common misconceptions about autoimmune disease, and how do you address them in your practice?
I think the common misconception is there's nothing you can do. Like you have it and good luck, right?
Yeah.
And there's so many things. And the thing is, it's not just coming from my mouth, right? It's not just me pontificating here that this is possible. The science is out there. The papers are out there. The research is out there. The certain things really do move the needle and help you feel better. So if you cumulatively put everything together, you can feel a lot better. So the myth that there's nothing you can do. And actually in my free masterclass, I talk about other misconceptions and myths and I kibosh them because it's really, it's something that really bothers me.
Yeah.
And that's why I started my practice. I'm like, this is nonsense. I wanted somebody like me when I was going through this. It would have saved me 10 years.
Wow, that's so true because like all the messages in the beginning you heard is impossible. There's nothing you can be done, nothing.
Or shaming me that you're just a depressed young woman.
Yeah.
And you're not losing weight. Why don't you lift more weights? Little did they know I was very athletic, but something was causing me to not be able to lose weight.
That's true. We see a lot of like, just like a lot of cases on TV, like the doctor just like, well, it's like psychosomatic. Like they just, when they don't know, they just put everything psychosomatic. Like,
yeah. And not all doctors, I mean, some doctors are amazing, but it's, you have to really do your research and find somebody that speaks your language.
Yeah.
But use discernment. Not all doctors are great. And not all practitioners or specialists that you work with. You have to find somebody that wants what you want and is speaking your language and listens to you and validates you and works with you.
That's right. And how do you stay on top of all the latest research and development in the holistic health world?
I'm just passionate about it. Like for me, it's fun. So I'm constantly like reading books and learning from doctors, learning from other specialists, but I have a very open mind. And that has really served me in my journey, is being open-minded, because I will do my own research, come up with my own thoughts on something, my own belief system, based on what I research, what I read, and I do not dismiss something until I really give it a lot of thought. But I would say I just read a lot.
Yeah.
And now that I don't have brain fog, it's I read a lot, and I feel it's kind of an emotional thing for me because I love to read, and I feel as if I'm catching up after years of not really, it was very hard for me to read.
Yeah. And what are you working on right now? Any initiatives or projects?
Yeah. So I created that self-healing jumpstart, the masterclass. And what I'm doing now is creating another program that's going to just basically be the whole journey that is similar to working with me one-on-one and broken up into different categories depending on what somebody really wants to focus on, because I do have a holistic approach. So yes, a big portion of it is diet, a big portion, but you could also be really interested in the other aspects of holistic healing.
Interesting. Yeah.
So that's what I'm building out right now, which I'm excited about. But the initial foundation is available with Self-Healing Jumpstart, and then YouTube as well, because that is such a great free resource, and building out more recipes and giving people more tangible things to start implementing today. And also it's just for me, like a deep dive on topics I think people don't necessarily talk about when it comes to health. So
that's so great. I just love how passionate you are in this field.
Thank you.
Yeah. Before our last question, is there anything else you would like to share with our audience?
I just think like really finding your tribe is something to focus on if you don't feel well. Also, to be open-minded, whatever comes your way, you'd be surprised. The universe kind of brings something to you for you to entertain. Also, really please take advantage of my free resources. It's meant to make you feel better right away. And just have that unshakable belief inside that nothing is wrong with you. It could be the chemicals you're exposed to, something that is not you. You are not your symptoms. You are you. And it's about us finding the alignment, who you are authentically, so that you can express yourself fully in this lifetime.
I love it. And please let us know where we can find you. And then we'll obviously list everything.
So my website is Powers. My last name is Powers, being.com. But that's my handle: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and each platform has a very different style. It's not all the same content. So it's kind of funny, just like evolves in different ways. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
That's
and
awesome.
That's where my website is, where my free masterclass is. But be sure to join my newsletter, because that's where I really I like to provide value in my newsletter. It's not fluff.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Nicole.